to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
Check. Syphilis. Gonorrhea, syphilis. Checking 1, 2, 3.
Dripping. Penicillin shots. Free for everybody.
My brother was in a band many years ago, early 90s, band called Burn Baby Burn.
Right.
And they went to, the guitarist was from, oh, gosh, damn it. The singer was Kevin Seconds from 7 Seconds.
Right. DVDA.
And the guitarist was from, they were a funk band back in the day, and I cannot remember what their name is. Oh, damn, it's going to haunt me now.
Grandmaster Poontang.
Anyway, they played a show in San Francisco, and I roadied with them, just like go to help out kind of thing, go to a show.
Right.
The I-Beam, I want to say on Haight or Ashbury or something like that. And I remember they were doing sound check, and the guys up there saying, syphilis, check 1, 2, syphilis. And I just fucking cracked me up.
It just never ends.
Yeah, gonorrhea, syphilis, crabs. I don't know.
Herpes, plosives.
Yeah.
Poontang. Hey.
Yeah.
Welcome to Sad Dads Club Podcast, episode 315. It might be season 7. I don't know.
It's.
Is it?
Did
you do
the podcast? I think this is the first show of the new season.
Hey man, season 7.
Yeah,
it's all brand new. 2 new hosts, 2 new show updates.
Yeah, the network really wanted to switch it up, so we're new. We're the new guys.
New logos, new studio,
new music,
same equipment.
Yeah.
Are you going to have Shan do another thing?
No. Oh, hell no.
She needs to do it like in a tired, hey, everybody. It's
everybody's
again,
favorite.
Guess. Anyway,
here they come.
They're taking their time. It's Jim and Foo.
They're busy fucking up the video or the audio or something.
Sad Dads Club podcast, I guess. You're only here because you have nothing else to do. Anyway, here's the show.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good, for the 3 people that listen to the show. Now they know what to expect.
It's like 2.5. We round up.
Yeah, that one was a half listen. I'll give it to you. They made it through about 30 minutes, so I'm proud of them.
Yeah. Well, the average viewer time is 4.5 minutes. What the It's an hour and 20-minute show, man. It just came for it just came for Shan, and then just rewound.
Maybe that's what it is.
Rewound it.
Because, she was voice of the Channel 31 Kids Club back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
When she worked there.
Hey, kids.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
She did all the commercial voiceovers for the Kids Club.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
She get royalties on that?
No, hell no.
Shit.
She had to pay for her own red Solo cups that she gave to the anchors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fucking.
So we would have to go to Smart & Final to get red Solo cups because that was the cheapest.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, don't they pay you back for? She's like, no, I just buy them. I'm like, okay.
Oh, holy shit.
And I think she even did it when she was an intern. So she wasn't even getting paid for that
Trying
shit.
to make herself valuable.
Yeah. So.
So the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Where's the RS?
That's the biggest, blackest elephant ever.
The answer is CarMax.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, well, shit.
So
I hope you're getting a Ferrari F40.
Yeah. I just saw that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I really cared about was what motor he was going to pick. But now I got to wait till episode
for 2
3.
shows. Yeah.
Fucking come on, dude. What motor? Anyway. On the trip down to Santa Barbara, so I haven't been running a tune on the RS.
So you've been stock.
I've been stock
computerizing.
God, almost like probably 2 years at this point. Like
okay.
It
doesn't excite you.
You know what it was? I didn't need it. Pretty much somewhere maybe a year after the like the
After COVID?
yeah, whatever that run was, the big run where we talked about endlessly because it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was somewhere
After that?
after that. It was when I had to replace the my battery.
Okay.
When
So does that reset the computer?
it did. It put me back on stock, and I went, "Oh, okay, all right." And I just went, "Well, I'm fine. I don't give a fuck." And I never replaced it. It was just fine.
Which just means what, half an hour of your time to like reflash it?
Yeah, at best. And my programmer is still good, and it's fine.
Cobb tuner, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I had no problems with the tune. It was just everything was just a little bit more snappy. There was obviously more responsiveness. There was more power if I ever cared to have. I mean, there were dyno sheets to prove it. But I'm like, I don't really care. I'm not really doing it. And if there was a moment where I'm like, I'm going to go on a drive, I'll take 20 minutes, put the tune on. I drove with the tune for 2-3 years. I'm confident that the tune doesn't do anything. But I changed the battery, the tune came off, and I was like, I don't really care.
Okay, just want to say that's an interesting thing. I didn't realize removing the battery would clear
the ECU.
Yeah. I always thought it was written to the ECU.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
so some sort of like volatile memory.
Yeah.
That if it doesn't have battery, it just gets wiped.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least in the RS.
Car. Okay.
I don't know if that's all Fords, but that was the case. I didn't remove it. When I changed the battery, it was no longer on there, and I got and I noticed that because the tune I had disabled the auto stop start. And at some point,
it was available.
it was available, and I kept having to turn it off. And then I think when the battery gets to like a certain voltage point, the auto stop start no longer becomes an option. Kind of like how it is in Venus's Explorer.
It knows.
It knows. It's like
I need the power.
I need the power. It's not here. And that may be because I have so much amperage draw on the amps that it.
That's what she said.
Right. It doesn't trigger which is fine.
You're just using enough voltage and amperage.
I don't really care about. I didn't like it. The tune turned it off, and then once I got to a point after the battery had been in the car, maybe 4 months or so, the auto stop start went away, and I no longer had to toggle it. I was like, fucking, I don't care. It's fine. But car's been fine. Car's fine.
Yeah.
Car doesn't get it. Just crossed 30,000 miles. It's a 2017.
Bonkers.
I changed the oil before we left for Santa Barbara.
Okay.
It was due.
Yep.
Oil and filter, perfectly fine.
You cleaned your under tray, I noticed?
Yeah. Yes. Sent the pictures.
You got up underneath
nice.
there, yeah.
Everything's fine. Everything is fine. The car is fine.
Yes.
On the drive down, in that valley we talked about in the last show, that valley in between like Avenal and it's the valley.
Yeah.
You know exactly
I know
what
what
we're
you're
talking about. On the other side of the valley, before you like start dipping down on the coastal foothills, you come up into the mountain and then you come back down. I'm on cruise control. I'm in normal mode. I'm not hotting it in any. But I'm about 75 on cruise control. We're coming up the thing. I'm passing a couple people, but I'm not on it. I'm just in cruise control, coming in and out of the lanes as needed. One-handed driving, and I'm talking with Piper about some stuff, and corner of my eye, light, check engine light.
Oh.
And I went, oh, weird. There was no discernible difference. The car didn't come out of cruise control. It didn't do anything. And I went,
just, hey, here's the lights on.
All right. Well, that's concerning. Now, I have the Cobb tuner that can tell me the codes in the thing. And I went, okay, somewhere years ago, there was a check engine light, but I thought that was relative to the tune. And it was easily cleared, and it was just like a benign thing about the catalytic converter or something like that. It was like an amorphous. Data's probably seen this in something if he's ever worked on a Ford. It's like a generalized code that could be any number of things, or you may have seen it with the Cadillac stuff. GM probably has like a generalized code. So, but this was years ago.
Okay.
And I was fucking around with the tunes, and I cleared it. It never popped back up. So this check engine light pops up. The car is driving fine, and I'm like, you know what? Let's see how this goes. We come down out of the valley, we stop, we get gas, we get lunch, turn the car back on, check engine light's still there. All right. So I send a thing to Venus. I'm like, you know what? Just make an appointment for the car at Ford.
Yeah.
I could probably solve this, but I'm like, you know what? What if I don't have time or it needs something? I really don't want to necessarily be tinkering on it.
Yeah.
Like I
feel it.
I would like to know. So, and I said, I'll get you the codes later, but if you can spin up an appointment now for when I get back, and then we'll do that. I'll get you codes and more details when I get at the hotel. So we uneventful. The drive is fine. I didn't punch it through modes, but I also then didn't try and test the system.
I'm sure it's one of those things too. You're on the beginning of your trip.
Right.
So now for the rest of your trip, you've got this fucking red light going.
Yeah.
And now you're going, what the fuck?
Right.
What the
fuck?
fuck?
And now I'm like, well, I'm ginger with. We were lucky that we get to the hotel and we parked, and like I said last week,
you walked around.
We pretty much walked everywhere, which was convenient. Me being a car enthusiast, not a car mechanic. If the check engine light comes on, that's not something you're pressing the limits of.
Right.
If you don't. So I'm watching gauges, I'm watching voltage, engine temps, oil pressure, stuff like that. Nothing came out of whack, but I am still apprehensive that the check engine light has come on.
Right.
That's generally bad.
Yeah.
So we get parked, we get unpacked in the room. Like, I'm going to go out to the car. I didn't really say anything to Piper because I was like, I don't want her to be worried that, oh, God, we came down here.
The check engine light.
And my dad drove his car, and now his car is broken on something that I asked. So I didn't really put it in front of her face.
Sure.
Just in case. So I go out, I read the codes, take pictures of the codes, come back in, send a thing to Venus or an email. I'm like, here are the codes just in case so I don't forget it, blah, 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 blah.
Did it give you descriptions of the codes? Or is it just say the
but
codes?
there's still...
is there multiple codes?
There were two.
Okay.
There were two codes. But again, they were like bank 4 lean something, but bank 4 relative to a 4-cylinder engine doesn't necessarily translate.
4?
Yeah, like I said, it's like a generalized code that could apply to
W12.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, well, I'm not fucking in a V8. Like, how does that code apply? And so because it was so generalized, I'm like, I'm not going to pick at it.
Yeah.
But I'm also in Santa Barbara. So I'm like, I'm taking care. Like I said, I didn't drive down in any of the hot foot modes. That wasn't what it was for.
Yeah.
Right. I did shave 7 minutes off the destination time, but that's not because I was hot in it. And Piper was like, yeah, but you made it in like 7 less minutes than it told us. And I'm like, hey, fucking... I mean, sometimes some things just happen.
That just means CHP wasn't doing their job.
Magic. Okay? Magic. We drove to the grocery store while we were down there. We... drove to State Street to have dinner. The check engine light was still on. The car behaved perfectly normal. Then back to the hotel, perfectly normal. Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was that we came home, Tuesday I think it was. I'm told it had to have been Tuesday. Either way, Tuesday morning we get up, we check out of the hotel, turn the car on, check engine light. So there's no state change here. I go to get gas before we leave Santa Barbara, get gas, fill up the tank. We'd make our way to Cal Poly or San Luis Obispo. We have lunch. I hand off Piper to Nick, who was going to go see where he's staying at the frat house and eat lunch with Nick. So I'm on my own for an hour to 2 hours
and that red light is
in San Luis.
eating you.
So but I didn't want to.
Right.
It was,
Yeah.
but to the point where, like, if I start digging around or fuck with something, I don't want to.
Oh,
It was
you don't
all-
want to make it worse.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to ruin what was already an amazing trip and an experience with Piper to be like, we're going to have to tow the RS home because I was fucking around with engine codes and I cleared it and then something else happened and then blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I'm just not going to touch anything. I went to a park there in San Luis Obispo. I ate my sandwich. I, went on a small walk around. I killed some time. I got back in the car. Check engine light still there. I somewhat got lost and went driving around the Cal Poly campus itself and went, oh shit, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Drove around campus. Sweet. Drove back down and realized, you know what? I don't necessarily want to stop for gas again. So I pulled into a Chevron.
Top her up.
Topped it off.
Yeah.
Went inside. I had to have the lady buzz me to the restroom. Went piss. Came back out. Bought an energy drink just so that way she knew I was supporting their cause for letting me piss. Went back to the car. I mean, it was only, $10, $15 in gas because I had just filled up in Santa Barbara. It's 90 minutes or less of driving.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a lot of gas. Get back in the car. Turn the car on. No check engine light.
So you filled it up.
All I did was fill up. But I had already filled up the car in Santa Barbara. So all I did was get gas. I drove it 90 minutes, got gas. And I was making my way back to Piper, who was like, pick me up somewhere about 2:30. I'm like, okay. And it wasn't immediately after I had left the Chevron. I'm looking at maps. I'm like, okay, I'm going to left turn here. I get back on the freeway. I'm kind of making my loop around. I'm like, so it was about 2 minutes before I realized, oh, wait.
It's off.
The check engine light is off.
Yeah.
I went, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds like a sensor.
So,
Yeah.
the appointment was already made. So, last night, the appointment was for today, this morning. So, last night, and I've driven it a couple times since we've been back.
No light.
No light. The light has not come back on. But I had a nice write-up to give to the techs. I'm like, you know what? Here was the mileage. I had just changed the oil. We got about 300, 400 miles. I was 75 miles an hour on the cruise control, normal mode. Check-in ledger, just read it. As a tech, regardless of the industry, there was here's exactly what happened.
Right.
So that way, hopefully, that's easier for them to troubleshoot. Anyway, so I had a nice write-up. I said, and then on the way back from the end of the trip, the light went off. I said, I don't know if something, I don't know what happened here, but I have not cleared any codes. It has gone off.
It'll store those.
Yeah, I'm just looking to know if something needs to be replaced or should I be concerned? Go nuts. So we dropped it off last night. And I was telling Venus, I'm like, what's weird to me is that I don't know, in my personal experience, I have never seen a check engine light come on and then resolve itself.
I have.
Have you?
Yes.
In what?
Recently. In Raj's Odyssey.
Do you know what the code was?
Yeah, it's he has a problem with his downstream O2 sensor.
Okay.
And if you're giving it some gas, like his driveway's pretty steep.
Okay.
So if you're trying to creep his van up to park it on the driveway,
Yeah.
that'll sometimes set the code.
Okay.
And the light will come on and then it will turn itself off.
Like for what's the duration in which it'll
be on
like mileage or like a time?
It's I don't know. I think it's just a matter of whether or not that condition is being met for the check engine light. So I don't know if it clears itself after so many cycles or so many checks at some point. Because it'll go out and then he won't go get it fixed because it's gone out, and then it'll come back on and it'll go. It's gone on and off numerous times now. And I'm like, we could just go get an O2 sensor. I know which sensor it is. We can just, it just is literally unbolted from the, and he hasn't wanted to do that. But yes, I have seen that happen.
Normally, if it was something else, I'd have been like, oh, the code went off. And I would have probably just been like, well, if it happens again, then. But I was like,
it's very possible that you were having a situation that was setting it, and then after some amount of retries or whatever, the condition was gone, and so the light goes out, and then it stores the code away, right? And then at some point again, it'll probably have that condition. It'll meet the criteria it needs for whatever that code is. Right. And it'll put the light back on.
And I guess for me, the end result is as long as the Ford tech tells me that that's what's going to happen, I'd be like, okay. So if it pops up again, I'm going to be less apprehensive, especially since I can read the codes myself. Like if the tech
love
says,
being armed with codes when I go to the...
Yes. I'm like, here's what it was. And not everyone has that ability.
Or cares enough.
Right. But if the Ford tech that pretty much comes back like, here's what it was, here's the sensors that we checked. So... most likely the condition of it will trigger this on occasion, and then the amount of cycles that you put in and driving it, the distance, the computer will relearn, and then it will self-clear, and that's the case that happens here. So if you find yourself in XYZ scenario and it triggers it, give it some driving time and it should clear itself. If it doesn't in 48, 300, 1,000 miles, that would be the problem. Then you bring it in. And I'd be like, perfect. Fucking fine with me. But I guess in my scenario, I need to know.
Yeah.
Am
I doing damage?
Right.
Or is there a possibility of me fucking something up?
When you see a condition that says, a code that says lean.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd rather check this in for whatever the hourly rate is, and you tell me, oh yeah, you're running lean and replace a sensor or something or fix something for $200, $400, then I blow a fucking motor.
I'll tell you what the scary one for me is. The Cadillac throws a check engine light when the fob batteries go low. It doesn't flash up a thing on the screen and said change your fob batteries.
Oh shit.
It fucking puts the check engine light up, and then you have to check the code and read the code that says batteries low in the fob. And you're like, why didn't you just put a fucking error on the screen that says, your fob batteries are getting low, change your battery, or whatever the fucking verbiage you want to use, instead of throwing a fucking check engine light. You know what I mean? Like, that's dumb.
You have like a texty screen, right?
Yeah, it's got
I want to say Venus's Explorer kicks that out.
I mean,
and ours is pretty much the same diagnostic.
Because I got like the StabiliTrak disabled, and it tells me all these things. Yeah. When I had check engine lights before, like it throws up all kinds of errors that are text, just normal errors. You got to hit dismiss or whatever to get through them.
Yeah.
Why can't you have one that says change the battery in your key? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, instead of throwing a fucking check engine.
Yeah, come on now. You know how long we went with T9? You can come up with some letters that tell me check
T9.
fob.
Yeah.
Like, you can fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
So, the RS is at the...
So you don't know yet? You haven't heard anything?
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. They sent a text to Venus this morning that said, 1 to 2 days. I'm like, fucking fine.
Well, tune in next week.
Right, tune in next week.
Because we'll know, I think, by then.
Right.
And hopefully it's not the 9 months that I...
Right. Well, we're going to start with the injector. No. I've heard this
you
story.
Got a broken rocker.
Yeah. We're going to replace the harness. Well, okay, stop. I have heard this fucking story. Please start with the manifold.
This sounds like a book written by Jim.
God damn it. What? So that's where the
Okay.
RS is.
Interesting. All right.
In other car news,
Yeah.
last week, this time was the first time I'd ever driven an EV.
Oh, okay.
And I realized,
Really?
certainly it wasn't
You
the first.
you never drove like one of the Teslas?
I
or-
have never driven
Okay.
an EV.
All right.
So you obviously have. You've talked about going to some of those car shows and like
Yes.
doing tests in various models.
Yeah.
So your son and your daughter-in-law stopped by late last week
Isn't that weird
with
to
their
say?
Honda. Yes, right. Their Honda Prologue.
Yeah.
And he's showing me around. He's like, "Drive it." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't need to."
He wants you to drive
And
it.
he's like, "God, no, fucking get in there."
Yeah.
And so I'm like, "All right, okay." He's,
Give it the business.
doors shut, and he's like, "You ever driven one?" I'm like, "No, I have not fucking driven one of these or an EV. Period." And he's like,
That's bonkers.
"Okay, well, all right." So he's like, stock.
You were a virgin.
Oh, 100%. So stock, move it to drive, fucking
Yeah.
not as someone in a manual transmission for so long.
Yeah.
It is weird to not feel a shift
Yeah.
as you progress through speed acceleration.
What's notable about it is because it's electric and the motors have constant torque, right? There's no gears to switch through. When you get on it, it just keeps going and going.
Yes.
It's very weird.
We drove it, I just drove it right around the block. And then we got to the stop sign here, because I'm just like, it's the first time. So we get the stop sign.
This new car.
We get that straight away right over here.
Yeah.
And then I make a right-hand turn. And he's like, "You give it the beans.
Yeah.
Like, stomp on it." And I'm like, "Okay."
It scoots.
It's, yes.
Yeah.
So,
It's not the fastest EV, but it scoots.
I mean, relative, yes. It's,
Yeah.
it's instant, and you're not having to row, or you're not having to like of even an automatic or a really smooth automatic transmission. It wasn't uncomfortable, but it was weird. It was like
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And then as we came around the horn here, stop sign, he like toggled on one pedal driving.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Isn't that weird?
That would take some time.
Yeah. Because it brakes way harder than you think.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. We like came through the stop sign. He's like, "Okay, it's on." And so as I'm coming around for like a ginger slow to the turn, I let off the accelerator, and it's like,
Oh, yeah. And you stop way
and
short.
I'm like, okay, but I could see the 100% utility if you're in traffic. Absolutely. Just one handle, it's doing all that stuff for you.
Yeah.
But man, that would take some getting used to.
Yeah.
One pedal driving. Holy shit.
Yeah.
There was certainly a lot more drag than you're like, "Oh, well, when I let off the gas, I'm using engine friction and force to like, engine braking. Yeah, I get it." And you're like, "Yeah, then you do this in an EV and it's one pedal drive." I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay."
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
It's almost like they have figured out the right amount of pressure to put on the brake to generate because that's what it's doing, is giving you back power.
Yeah, right.
Pulling power out of the brakes to give it back to the battery. So that's probably the most efficient amount of pressure.
Yeah.
And it's quite a bit. It's kind of surprising how quick it wants to stop, because if you were one pedal driving around town here, you would have to wait longer than you would normally, because I'm rolling up to a stoplight
Right.
in a normal gas car. My car, I let off the gas and immediately that motherfucker would start braking.
Oh yeah.
In my car, I let off the gas, I coast, and then I'm into the brakes kind of a little bit on the slower side.
Right.
But in the EV, you would have to like really kind of go at speed toward, and then
I'm gonna get 25 feet, and then
because it brakes fairly aggressive,
right,
and quickly.
Yeah.
So it's a different. You have to really trust.
Yeah,
those.
the distance would be almost completely counterintuitive
Yeah.
to driving an internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
Or certainly even a manual. You're like, fucking, I'm 100 feet out and I'm pushing in the clutch and I'm like, "Brr."
So I saw a thing that the Ioniq 5, is it the Ioniq? One of the Hyundais has a mode. It's an electric car, has a mode in it that makes it function as if it's shifting.
Oh, yeah?
So
I think Toyota was working on something like that too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't remember which car this is, but Hyundai definitely has this. And I think the Ioniq 5 or something. Is there an N version of it? I don't even know. Maybe it's the N version.
Okay.
So it has a mode in there that when you're driving this electric car, it feels like you're rowing gears and it's shifting.
Wow.
So it doesn't have a stick shift, but it's shifting as if it
gives you a simulation.
Yeah.
Well,
which is bizarre. And I'm sure it's way less efficient to utilize it that way.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I see? Something I shared it with Venus. Have you heard about the Hertz rental for the Mach E?
No.
Okay, so apparently it's a package, a Shelby package for the Mach E, so the Ford EV.
Okay.
The Mustang Mach E.
Right.
It's sold in Europe, but apparently the Hertz rental company has some
exclusive or something.
Yeah, some sort of exclusive. At least they're here in California. It is, so it's a Ford Mustang Mach E. It's their SUV-ish version, all electric. It has a pack. It's really just an appearance package, but it has the anyone who's familiar with aftermarket exhaust companies, Borla makes a piped in cabin exhaust sound, but also I don't know where the fucking speakers are on the outside of the thing. I believe it's now law that they have to have some sort of audio thing for like backing up or something.
I think,
or low speeds.
It's up to 25 miles an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
So this appearance and customization package has a small. You and I and anyone who's a stereo enthusiast would recognize this as like the remote bass boost tuning knob for an amp. It looks like it has a toggle button, off, aggressive and like not aggressive sounds, and a volume knob that gives a V8 sound in the cabin and on the exit outside of the car.
Okay.
That is tuned to the accelerator pedal. So if you give it gas, it sounds like a Mustang, a V8 Mustang.
Okay, so it's the Shelby Mustang Mach E GT.
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's got like livery on the side and Shelby badging all across.
It looks actually pretty cool.
It does look cool. And I don't know. I mean, I'm listening to it through YouTube, but the exhaust note and sound
just sound like an engine.
It sounds like an internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
And that it's tied to the accelerator pedal. So the one video I watched that I sent to my wife was the guy is in park, but he's like goosing the accelerator pedal, and it's like V8 burble. Like it sounded pretty hot.
That's strange to me that they would sell that in Europe, but not here in the. It's Shelby.
Yes. And the article I read.
I mean, this is on the Shelby website. I'm looking at it on.
Yeah, I don't know. And it was 100 units in the UK.
Yeah, Shelby Mach EGT, 100 limited units for Europe.
Yeah.
Why is that only for Europe?
I don't know. Like, what's the license? And it's not like it's a European, as far as I know. It's not a European exhaust company. I think Borla is States. I don't know.
Starting at 24,900 euros? That seems
I don't know
cheap.
if that's the package. Like, you can't get a Mach E. What's the MSRP on a Mach E?
I want to say close to 40.
Yeah, so
or maybe like even 50. They're
is that
expensive.
A package? Someone paying that much for a package?
Oh, do you have to send the car to them or something?
I don't know, but that would be ridiculous, especially when it's like appearance based. So, what is 28,000?
No, it just
what
says
does 28,000 euros translate to U.S. dollars? Check. Oh my God! I said what? Whatever. You dumbass. Watch.
Hey Siri, what is 24,900 euros in U.S. dollars? 26.8. So
that's
26.9.
not right. So you think that's just that's got to be just
no,
a
that's not what it
package.
says. It says meet the new electric Shelby Mustang, our first production EV, and available only in Europe. 100 Shelby Mustang Mach Mustangs will be available, honoring the 100th anniversary.
What is the MSRP of the Ford Mustang Mach-E? $42,000. Premium trim starts at $47,000.
It's almost double.
So what is? I don't know. Maybe you got to go to Europe to get a reasonably priced EV.
That's
no way.
That's bonkers, dude.
Anyway, so they're coming up with funny, wacky shit to give simulated internal combustion engine things.
Yeah, that Prologue, it's a GM thing,
right?
But I really like the car.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it would be perfect for somebody like my wife.
Yeah.
It's very spacious inside. It's got all the tech that you need or want.
Yeah.
Now,
come on, Shan.
These are the things that we beat ourselves up over, because I'll never probably buy a Tesla as long as Elon Musk is still with the company.
Yeah.
So I won't buy a Tesla. But they have a lot of advantages.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
And we've talked about this many times. And so given that the kids have bought that car, this is a conversation that we have had numerous times since they got it, for sure. Because their charging port is different from a Tesla. Honda doesn't have access to Tesla superchargers, even with an adapter. So that's not an option. So now you're Electrify America or whoever else that is. And those have been lackluster on the availability. And in fact, he tried to go, the Rayleigh's One out there has a 3 super fast chargers or something.
Yeah.
He tried to go out there and use them, and none of them worked.
Oh, no.
You know?
Yeah.
And when we were in San Francisco and we wanted to charge before we came home, he said, I was like, we don't have to charge here in the city. If you want to get out of the city and go somewhere to a charger, like after we cross the Bay Bridge.
Right.
And he goes, no, I think if I get a charger here in the city, it'll be maintained.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'll probably be full of electric cars and it will probably be okay.
Because people will care. Right.
But that's the thing. Like Tesla will tell you how many chargers are available, what speeds they are, if there's any of them that are down, and this kind of stuff. With Electrify America, all you get is like, we've got this many chargers and we've got fast charging and whatever. So you don't know if any of them are working or if they're full,
right,
or what. You don't have any idea. But he found this place in San Francisco, and we pulled up, and it was like the coolest facility.
Yeah.
Really cool facility. Like it was in a multi level building,
multi-storied,
painted white inside, really clean. There were 22 or 24 chargers inside. Almost every single one of them was full. Of every kind of car you could imagine. Hyundais and Mustangs and Audi. There was some couple little Chevy things in there. You name it. Like there was everything in there. It was and there were 2 little like seating areas that had bathrooms and like tables, like people were in there working, waiting for their car to charge. It was a nice experience.
Yeah.
But that is not normal, I don't think. As witnessed by Chandler's previous with the rental Volkswagen ID4 trying to charge here at our local Galleria, and then just recently with the Honda, he tried to go to that one.
I do wonder then, like, what's the job market for charging station techs? Like, what's the deal? Why does it sound like? Okay, here's where I'm going. Why does it seem like that's the norm?
I know. I don't know.
I don't necessarily.
Do they not have enough people to install and maintain?
Right. That's what I'm wondering.
Chargers?
Like, I am sure.
Do they not care?
Yeah, I am sure the supercharger network has its own set of technical failures or maintenance problems.
They laid off everybody.
But I don't. The impression and perception that I have is that the supercharger network from Tesla is the bar in which everyone is held to for a standard in quality, availability, and visibility for all of those things.
And performance.
Right. So, God, stop going in and out of the house. So why is it that some of these other... It is an unmistakable perception that Electrify America, these non-supercharger charging station networks, are shit or unmaintained.
Well, that's the other problem too, is if you look at the charging network here in Roseville, California, where we are, if you look at the state of the charging network, if you're a Tesla, there's shitloads of superchargers all over the place.
Yes.
If you are non-Tesla, it's slim picking.
Right.
It's
or you're
slim
hoping
pickings.
that your auto manufacturer vendor has a usage agreement with
Tesla.
With Tesla.
Yeah. Like
Rivian
Rivian.
Rivian has it. Ford has it. I don't know who else has.
Is Chevy?
Well, if it did, I can't imagine why you wouldn't, because it's Honda. The drivetrain is
I know,
Chevy.
but it's a different It's a Honda. So I don't know.
Would they have changed the plug?
No, it's the non. I don't remember what Tesla's. It's like NC. That's
balls on you. Yeah.
Whatever the Tesla connector is different from.
Yeah, Rivians have it. Fords have it.
But then that's the thing, is they offer adapters, right?
Right.
So
I at this point, I would be,
it's tough.
You're either hoping that your vendor, your car manufacturer, is going to sign or is working on, or at least in California, I'd be apprehensive about buying something that couldn't adapt into the supercharger network.
Well, what I don't understand is it's doable, obviously, because Tesla has done it in countless places around here.
Right.
Where they have gone to whatever property owner and said, we want to put in a supercharger system here, and they work out a deal. Why isn't Electrify? Do they not have enough staff to be able to keep up? Are they struggling? Do they not have the equipment? Is it a funding thing? Is it, there's so many questions I have about that whole thing.
Like, why?
And even when they go into a place, if Electrify America goes into a place and sets up chargers, it's nothing close to what Tesla has done.
Yeah.
So you've got multiple manufacturers of cars that are they need to use that charging network, where Tesla just has them and a handful of others. And they've got shitloads of them. And it's like they knew exactly what they were doing. So I don't know. I struggle with that. Now the next thing.
What's the other one? Electrify America and
I don't know.
Yeah.
The other thing of this, the other idea behind this is to have a charger at your house.
Yeah.
And this is where solar would help.
Right.
So we're back to that.
You couldn't. I mean, your son showed us, and Nicole showed us what it would be like to try and charge it off 110.
Oh, 110. Yeah, that's not even. And I mean,
right.
That's not even an
So
option.
you'd be like, "Congrats, Shan, we're going green." But also, you're going to have to go park at the mall,
well,
at the end of every night for an hour to get a charge since you don't work at Oracle.
the good news is that I have a 220 outlet that is not being used at my house.
Oh.
Because I have a gas dryer.
Okay.
So I'm not using an electric dryer in my laundry room.
You could pull this off with an electrician and a series of breakers, potentially.
I don't know.
That work.
Maybe. I mean, I assume if you have because the Honda comes with, just as an example, the Honda comes with a charger that will connect to a 220.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
If you had a 220 port, which is right where I would put it is literally right where the electrical box is.
Yeah.
So you could put it right there, and then you just basically disable the one in the laundry room.
Oh, well, there you go.
I would think that would work.
Time for a new car for Shan. Let's do it, Jim.
Yeah, I don't know what the
keep me posted
amperage is required for charging an electric car at any sort of decent speed.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
And I don't know if my panel would handle that even or not. Electric cars weren't a thing when my house was built. So.
I think Will's place, when he lived on the grid, charged his Tesla off 220, and I don't think he had anything special pulled as far as amperage. It was just a 220 breaker put into his panel with a plug.
Oh. And I mean, even that's not...
But I don't know if there was anything.
You probably get like 20 miles an hour or something.
Yeah, I don't know. You haven't... Or
I haven't looked into it.
Haven't looked that up either?
No.
Like he would want that as a fallback in case.
Essentially, for Nicole, because it's basically her daily, is that she can charge for free at work. They have two available different chargers. We talked about this last week, but they have two. There's two chargers available in her workspace. One of them is Oracle's, and the other one is from a business that's next door. The Oracle one is like $1 for 5 hours. So they charge, and then it's like $1 for every hour after that or something like that. The other charger, which is not tied to Oracle, is another company's charger, is free. You can just plug in and it'll charge your car.
Oh shit.
So she tries to get onto that one.
Shoot the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I assume at some point, if they really wanted to, they could be like, hey, don't fucking charge here because you're stealing power from us. Right. I mean, technically, she shouldn't have access to that.
Right. There should be a badge or something. Yeah.
But she can charge for very cheap just by using the Oracle chargers. And that gives her most of her battery, if not up to 80%, which is what you normally charge to. That would give her what she needs. And Chandler's funny because the other day he was saying something like, was it yesterday? He's like, oh, I thought about driving the truck. And then I was like, well, shit, that means I got to buy gas.
Right. Yeah.
And if they're getting free power to charge the car, just take the Prologue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. We made a joke about that. I was asking him something like, curious how the all-wheel drive system would work in the snow going to Tahoe or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if we do that, we would take the fucking truck. Like, well, of course you would.
Yeah.
But now you start thinking about, but if you were going to, you were going to have to worry about gas.
I think in that case, Chandler bought a truck so that he could take it to the snow.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, and that was part of the reason why he bought the Ranger is because it has real four-wheel drive and not all-wheel drive like the Pilot.
Yes.
No, the Ridgeline. He really liked the Ridgeline, but he had concerns, obviously, about the all-wheel drive system not being quite what he wanted. So that's when he ended up looking at trucks. He was like, "Well, I really like the Ridgeline. I like the way it drives, and I like all these things. But if I'm going to buy a truck, I want a truck that I can get 4 low and 4 high. And
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
you know,
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's available on an EV. I think like the Ford F-150 Lightning and the new Chevy truck, I think they're all.
I don't know how it does.
I think it's basically like all-wheel drive stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe you tune something as software. For
They don't have lockers or anything.
Yeah, for a gearing. Yeah.
Right? It's all simulated.
A button for 4 low in an EV. Maybe it's doable with software. I can't see why it wouldn't be. You just like lock a motor, and the algorithms are all like, "You work together."
You do it in a low range effort,
and you're going to pretend that your gears are this, and so then it just.
Yeah.
I could see it being done with software, but now we're in a. I have no fucking idea how this is working.
Yeah.
Is it working?
I mean, Rivian seems to do a pretty good job.
Single pedal driving in inclement weather would probably be awkward. Like, could you imagine being like in a whiteout and then you're like letting off the gas as it like?
Oh yeah. What are you going into ABS as soon as you let off the gas?
Holy shit!
You're like let off the gas and go.
Yeah.
You know.
What?
I don't know. I don't know how any of that works, but fascinating stuff.
Yes.
All new stuff. It's all new stuff. I mean, it's not. Tesla's been around. Electric cars have been around. But like this is like we're going mainstream, I feel like.
Well, yeah, now you're within 1 degree of someone that has one. Like and is in the ear.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's different than your car show thing where you go and drive it and then you come away, or you read a news article and you're like, yeah, but fuck Teslas.
Right.
Now it's
it's real.
Has one.
Yeah.
So
see, now Chandler is the kind of guy, and I'm sure he's going to listen to this, and I hope he agrees with me. He's like a no-nonsense dude. Mm-hmm. So if there's shenaniganing involved in any of this stuff, he'll get upset about it.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that is, for instance, maybe one day Nicole doesn't make it to the office and the car's charge is lower than expected.
Mm-hmm.
Now you want to use the car on Saturday, and it's Friday. She didn't make it to work to charge the car.
Mm-hmm.
So she made it home with 30% battery.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do? Now you've got a new thing to go do.
Right. Yes.
You've got to plan ahead. You can't wait to the last second and just fill up real quick at the gas station, because we know a gas station trip is like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah. But they will clear a check engine light.
Right. So it's just you have to like look at stuff differently. Like, well, we want to take that car, but now we have to leave earlier.
Yeah. There's probably more trip foresight and trip planning. Like, okay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for gas, but how do we make sure that we stagger the drive through the weekend to make sure that before we start the trip, we're goosed?
Yeah.
Or we plan on going to get a goose before we start the trip.
Right.
That kind of thing. Yeah, that's a different set of planning.
Yeah, and so like when we drove it to San Francisco last weekend, weekend before, you know, I don't think he charged it to 100%. It was only 80 or something, I want to say. And so we used a bunch coming down, and then we went to dinner, so it got driven a little bit. So we were down to like 40%. And I kind of I partially expected that. So, you know, it's like, hey, if we got to stop and charge, it's not a big deal. It's just a little bit longer than a gas station stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, but, however, if it were my car, and when I leave town, I go to the gas station and I top it off, right?
Right.
If I had driven my car to San Francisco, I would have had plenty of gas without having to stop and get home. And I would probably make it home with at least a quarter tank of gas.
So if I don't know the range, and I don't know the mileage from us to San Francisco and back off the top of my head. Do you?
It's around 100 miles ish, I think.
So if he'd
each
have
way.
been at 100%,
In theory, it would be enough.
He would have made that trip.
In theory,
I don't know the mileage either off the top of my head of the
I think
Prologue trim that he has.
I think I want to say the Prologue's like 240 or something.
Is it?
Let's look it up.
So it would have been at 100, but he'd have had to been pegged, and you guys took it like right off the lot almost. Was that how
He went and charged it prior to us leaving.
Oh, I see.
Range. Now his is the
Elite, or it's the top.
No,
It's all-wheel drive.
it is all-wheel drive, but it is not the top. It's like the EX essentially, which is like I think it's essentially the bottom. The bottom
With all-wheel drive.
Yes.
I gotcha.
So wow. I don't know. Where is the here we go.
So hard to find these statistics.
I'm going straight to the source.
You could ask the watch.
Now this, I don't know. This says 296 miles. I mean, maybe that's 100%.
I think the top one was like actually 300 and change.
Really?
Yeah. I want to say something like 314, 315, but if he doesn't have the top one, and I saw enough fucking EV range things in the last 4 to 5 days that I could be completely just batshit fuck.
It's got 3 trims, the EX, which is what he has, the Touring, and the Elite. And they're expensive.
Oh yeah. The Elite is pegged.
It's almost 60 grand.
Yeah. 57.
57.9.
Yeah.
And the Touring is 51,700. Man, that's a lot of money.
Yes.
What I was looking for was the specs. Where's the specs? Looking to see what
Check 1, 2.
Well, that's what I clicked on that already. Okay, range. It's saying I don't know what the slash means.
But
okay, so he's got the all-wheel drive model, and that's 281 miles.
Okay.
And that's probably with 100% battery.
Okay.
So if you're 80%, you're probably knocking off like 40 or so miles.
Okay.
And if you're in the two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive model, it's 296 miles. So it's a little bit more efficient with just one motor. I mean, obviously.
Right.
Oddly, the Elite only gets 273 miles of range. I wonder why that is.
More premium, fatter in the ass, less batteries, or all-wheel drive performance takes more out of the goosing. Of the
I assume
mileage.
it could come down to tire packages or something like that.
Yeah.
Because typically, he's got sort of those fat. There's a little bit on the thicker size tires.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go with low pro tires for the look or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then you typically lose out on some range, I believe. So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, it's a nice car, and I wouldn't not drive one for sure. You know?
You could go get the Lyric, and then you could say that you have the same car, but you have the caddy version.
I don't know about that.
Then you could be an all caddy house.
So there it is. The tires on the Elite are 275 45s.
Okay.
So they're thin guys
Mm-hmm.
on a 21-inch rim.
Good God.
And his car has the 255 60s. So fatter guy
Mm-hmm.
on a 19-inch rim. So you get 21s with a 45
rubber band,
a 45 tire versus, and that's probably the difference in the range, I would assume. So they're probably a little less efficient.
Ratio, baby.
Yeah. So
God damn.
anyway, fascinating shit.
Hey, speaking of EVs,
Yeah.
electric skateboards.
Yeah, you were asking about those two.
Dude. Really what I have to point out here is the when you're fucking around with you're poking around at like a hobby or an interest, and then you're like, oh, and then you go away for a while, and then you come back and, things have changed. So you're just like checking in. I do that with like Jeeps. Like,
right.
Like pre-COVID, I'm like, I want a 4x4. I'm just a fuck around vehicle. And you're like, oh, fucking Jeeps are way too expensive.
Right.
And then you go away for a bit, and then you check back in, and you're like, oh my God, the used car market is so expensive. And now this $6,000 Jeep is trying to get sold for $16,000. And you're like, fuck you guys.
Right.
We talked about it, was it 2 shows ago? Like the onset of personal electric scooters and skateboards and bikes and whatnot. I hadn't poked around with looking at, every once in a while I get interested in like one wheel. Like Adam Savage is like hot on one wheel.
Yeah.
Because it's like a close approximation of like snowboarding.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So I like every once in a while, dude, those things are,
they're pricey.
Grand up.
Yeah.
It's, so I look and then I go away and I'm like, relative to skateboards though, my opening of the interest into skateboards comes from the boosted boards.
But aren't they not around anymore? Are they gone?
As a brand, they're gone.
Okay.
And I got
wild.
into the awareness of that from Casey Neistat.
Right. Because he loved those things.
He loved, like, New York City boosted boards. He was hot on it. He had, like, fucking 5 to 10 on his wall. He, like, would rotate through them. But those were up at, like, $1,000 plus $2,000. And it was like, man, that looks fun. I would love to do that.
But the thing about Casey Neistat is he abuses the crap out of his gear.
Oh,
and if he's still using it and it's working,
right,
then it's probably decently made,
That was like one of those things where you kind of like, that's a bridge too far. And when we talked about bikes, 2 weeks, 1 week back, I poke around on Amazon bikes of decent distance, and they're up at $1,000 too. So it was like, man, fuck that. So we can't run into this situation where I'm realizing I might need to move around some stuff, and I'm like, fucking, if I had a bike or a boosted board for this weekend's activities, man, that'd be just cush. It'd just make my life a little bit easier. And I remembered that your son had one. So I'm like, fucking, I should just see if I could borrow it or if he needs me to rent it from him.
Yeah.
Like,
He would have let you borrow it.
Right. So I'm like, I check in with that. Obviously, he sold it.
Yeah.
He has a scooter. I'm like, I'm not really interested in scooters. But we had a good discussion about scooters and that whole thing. So I'm poking around on Amazon with the intent of looking at, like, where are electric skateboards at?
Hold on now.
In price point.
One Wheel has a sale right now for the cheapest one, the pint.
Yes.
$750.
Okay. That's still more than
that's a lot. That's still a lot, but normally they're $10.50.
Yeah. Okay. That's about that makes sense.
So it's for the cheapest one.
Yeah. Yeah, that ain't happening.
I had to look it up because I was like, how much are they really $1,000 for the cheapest one?
So I have in like a bookmark folder of like DIY stuff, like a Bluetooth, like a party size Bluetooth speaker setup. One of them is like a make your own, like a DIY EV skateboard. And so while I didn't look at that specifically, I was like, surely by now, in the years since I had looked at this, so I punch in Amazon EV skateboard kit.
Okay.
Because I have a longboard that my daughter doesn't use right above us here in the high-quality Sad Dads Club podcast studio.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a skateboard. Like, is there a prefab kit?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh.
$200.
Oh, that's not bad.
No. It's not. But then I'm like, oh well, fucking, I'll be damned. So obviously, then Amazon decides.
So then you're off and running.
And then it's off and running. Now Amazon's like, hey, buddy, what are you looking at?
Oh, you like skateboards and electric ones at that, huh?
Based off your browsing history of 35 and a half seconds, would you like something to see in this?
Oh, yeah.
And wham, wham, wham.
Oh, yeah.
To buy a just complete new board with better range than the kit, you're talking $75. So it's like, well, I'm not beholden to the board, but a bigger battery, bigger motor, full board is, pressing $325 depending on what brand. And then it was just like, but the price points of what I knew were up at $1,000. Now we're talking $200. And I went, fucking, how crazy is that?
The H3 DIY electric skateboard
Yeah, I looked
kit
at that one.
with
That's
remote.
Yep.
Electric longboard kit for adults and teens. Beginner with battery pack, 480 watts motor.
Yep.
$200.
Yes. I looked at that one.
It's on sale from $259. So you better act fast.
Yeah, no way, man. And then we have.
I mean, what's $200?
And you could put that thing on a penny board. You could put it on a medium-sized skate deck. You could put it on a longboard. Like, wow, that looks handy.
Now my results are going to be all
Oh, yeah.
fucked up.
You're welcome.
Am I logged in?
Yeah.
I am.
God
No,
damn.
I'm not. I'm signed in.
I
I don't use this computer
I'm going to
for
send
this.
those things to your wife. She's going to get you in.
Well, Chandler made a good point about skateboards. He had the boosted board. One of the things he hated about it was you hit a pebble,
Yeah.
the board just fucking stops.
Yeah.
And you don't.
Yeah.
And that's why he loves the scooters so much more,
Yeah.
because they're way more forgiving and the range on them's way better.
They make these big knobby tires
Uh-huh.
for the skateboards.
Oh, yeah.
So you could
Those
just
dirt boards.
like, oh, not that I put a lot of time into it, but there is ways around it. But yes, I could see if you're just in a normal skateboard deck with skateboard wheels.
Yeah.
You hit a fucking acorn and the party's over.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what these are, basically.
Yeah.
I wonder what the durometer is of these.
I tried to tell my wife the story, about, do we need? And then how my son was nice and smart, and I barely got through the conversation.
You'll never use it.
Before my wife was like, nope, you don't need one. Nope, don't do it. I'm like, wait, I'm not telling the story. Hold on a second. Wait. So I'm like, I need to get this. This sounds like a good idea. And she's like, nope, no, you don't. No, you don't. I'm like, wait. So then your son comes home, and I tell him, why shouldn't I buy this now? And he gave me the advice that I didn't want to hear. Not the young man who's like, well, shit, when dad's done with it, fucking
I'll get it.
I've got one.
Yeah.
He went straight to, it's one-time use. We only have this competition one time a year, and you walk and run everywhere, so why would you need one? And I went,
You're like, God
and
damn it.
Venus is like, I'm going to send him a text that he did a good thing today. 'Cause he fucking, I'm like, shit.
He saved me $200 at least.
Yeah, at least 200.
Yeah, because I mean, some of these are 500. This one's $500. That one's $300. That one's $600.
A lot of them are on sale.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there's coupons and stuff.
not that I poke too hard.
I mean, it's,
Plus, there's Black Friday. I mean, hey, man, you never know.
that's true. And if you got like the Honey app, it'll give you the
Yeah.
price.
Yeah. It's auto into the Honey to put it in a drop. Hey, man, just send me an alert
Yeah,
when the
right.
10%, 15, 20%.
That would be fun. I mean, I kind of like the scooter idea.
Have you spent any time on his scooters when he had them?
I've ridden them around a little bit here and there, but
Yeah.
they feel more. They're just more planted. You feel like you're not gonna have that skateboard issues. I mean, I used to skate like crazy, but
Plus, we're old. I mean, who needs? Just give me the handles and we'll be okay.
I'm fine with it.
Give a little.
Of course, he's got problems with tires on those things apparently. So
yeah,
that's what he's battling right now. With both of them, he's got 2 of the scooters, and both of them are down with bad
non-op.
Yeah, bad tires that won't hold air, and then one of the valve stems came off. So
how crazy.
I know. He's had a lot of trouble with
We're at time.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, damn.
I mean, if we throw another half hour on here like the last couple shows, but yeah, we're close. We're good.
All right. Well,
on that note, you should return the cart.
Should wash your ass.
Wash your hands.
Check your oil, Tony.
Stay up to date on your shots.
Make the call if you need to.
Register to vote and vote.
Yeah.
Pick up a broom.
And do the kindness.
And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah! We fucking did it. God damn. Wow, we did it? We did. Check the oil? Yeah. Fucking. How's Tony? Hey, Tony.
I haven't talked to him in a while.
I hope you enjoy your run. Hope you're still listening. You're the other one of the 2 people that listen.
I hope, yeah. In fact, I think I saw that you didn't download a show.
Oh, my God. We can see your cookies. And your cookies. You know what I'm saying? All right, bye.